Hey everyone, my name is Kat Aragon. I am a professional makeup artist and I have been for the last 20 years. I'm also a beauty guide with LimeLife by Alcone, and I wanted to do this video to kind of give you an idea of why I joined LimeLife by Alcone, but also more importantly, why I choose to stay with LimeLife by Alcone after so many years. So please stay tuned and we'll get right to that message. So I found Alcone at Home, which is now LimeLife by Alcone, many years ago. It was just an idea getting off the ground. I remember being in the makeup room as the senior hair makeup artist for CNN in Washington, D.C. And I was ordering from the parent company of Alcone at Home, LimeLife. It's called Alcone Makeup Company, and they're over in New York. And they have been a solid foundation that I've just known in my makeup industry career for years and years and years. I mean, way before I found LimeLife, way before I was even an educator for the makeup show. They had just been a place that a makeup artist could absolutely go to and trust that they were going to get the best products from that company. They acted as beauty curators. So basically what that meant was that if there was a hot product that makeup artists were bringing out home from overseas, or they couldn't find it anywhere else, or, there's just this really great thing that makeup artists kept recommending over and over again, Alcone looked to curate and bring in those lines to make it really easy for makeup artists to find everything in one stop. So when they had the idea to take the best of the best products that they were selling to pros and bring it to anybody, any pro, any person who wants to retail it to their customers, I absolutely was like, this makes a lot of sense. Up until that point, I had been pretty much having my customers go on a rat race, looking for all these different things and all these different websites and all these different stores and charging up their card to so many different places. Many of the times I couldn't even recommend the things that I was getting for them because it was really just made for pros. And honestly, my customers didn't want a palette full of 50 different colors. They just wanted their colors, the ones that they wanted. So LimeLife knew that. Alcone at Home, LimeLife understood that and saw the need to have consumer-friendly packaging for customers so that pro makeup artists could absolutely recommend their favorites to their customers, and they can continue on with their beautiful look at home and then come back to the makeup artist when they have those special events, right? Like for more of those detailed looks. So I was in a place at the time where my eyes were open to this. One, because I had just realized recently through one of my friends who I was working with that her cousin was huge in network marketing and direct sales. I remember her coming in one day and saying, "Oh my gosh, can you believe this? Like my cousin makes $50,000 a month doing this." And I'm like, $50,000 a year? And she goes, "No, $50,000 a month." And I'm like, what does she do? And it was with a different company. It was vitamins and stuff like that. And it never really was a thing that fit me, but it just opened up my eyes to the possibilities of what you could possibly do with network marketing and knowing that there wasn't a ceiling. So that being in the back of my head, along with the fact that LimeLife, when they announced that they were doing this and they were bringing pro beauty products to retail where anybody could retail and make commission off of it, I thought, I'm already doing this anyway. I'm already using the products anyway. I want to recommend these products, and nobody I know is paying me for my recommendations while my customers are running around like crazy trying to find all these things. So I kept checking off the list of like, this is why I would need to do it. This is why I need to do it. And then the biggest thing of them all was the fact that I was working at a job, which while it was paying my bills and while it was very stable and all that, it was just so hard to really be in a place where I could be absolutely, just, how do I say it? I was dog tired. I was getting sick. I was overworked. We had a lot of stresses. The company at the time when I was working there was going through some downsizing. And I think a lot of people felt that weighing in on them. And also I think a lot of people were worried about layoffs, which gets you in the mindset of wondering, like, do I need to look for something else? And then on top of that, because there were layoffs, there were a lot of things that would happen with having to decrease budget when all we really needed was actually to increase help, which means that we would have to increase budget. So a lot of things had to really line up for me to even be able to look into this in a very serious matter. So when I decided to do this, I originally just decided to make this very comfortable for my clients to have a good experience, to know that they could work with me. I could recommend the best stuff for them. They can get the product to their door. I didn't have to carry stock like I did when I had a private label line. It just, the ease and convenience was what got me. But when I started to work with the program and work with this company to start retailing, I realized just how many of my customers really, really, really were looking for this. And then on top of that, when they saw the quality of it, and it was unlike anything that they've ever seen. They've never seen foundation cover so quickly, so well, with so little. They never saw eyeshadows that just look like the color they were supposed to look like. When they had so many great experiences with using pro quality makeup that I took for granted because I've been a pro and I've been using this kind of makeup for a long time, it really opened my eyes to the fact that I wanted to bring this to more and more people. Like, they just had no idea until they tried it, right? So right around the same time, as I was kind of going through the stresses of working at, my morning shift in the news, which was in itself a really crazy thing. I'd have to wake up at 2:00 in the morning to get there by 4. Yeah, it was a lot. Not to mention I had 3 kids. I was still freelancing to make ends meet. So I started to really put my time into working with LimeLife after my job. Like, when I was exhausted, I would get off at noon, which seems like I'd have a lot of time, right? I would get off at noon, and then I would drive home. And on that drive home, I was like on the phone just telling everybody about this new company that was absolutely allowing pro makeup artists to retail to other people. I knew a lot of people who were doing workshops. I knew a lot of people who were working with brides. I knew this was something that our industry needed. It's something that LimeLife recognized, and I'm so glad that they decided to throw their hat in the ring in trying a totally different new thing with a different and new model that has not been done in the makeup industry, not the pro makeup industry before. And so when I first joined on with them, I told them, I'm like, look, I love what you guys are doing, but here's the thing, guys. I've had some bad experiences with the model of network marketing or with the model of direct sales. And I talked to Michelle, the CEO. Back then we were so little that she like literally answered the phones for customer service. And when I said that, I told her, I'm like, look, my experiences have been that people who join network marketing that, again, I've run into, have always done like this bait and switch thing. They were never transparent about what they were asking me. I felt like I was meeting up for coffee for a friend, and all of a sudden I was being pitched on a kit. Or I was lied to, just straight up lied to, saying like the makeup that their company carries is the only thing at, some fashion week or whatever. And I'm like, well, that's weird because I just got off fashion week working for Makeup Forever with Lottie. So that's not even true. I just had a bad taste. I saw cattiness. I saw drama. I saw all this stuff happening in network marketing. Otherwise, retailing, no problem. Even if people want to help build teams and bring people together, awesome. That's great. I had no problem with that. It was more the other stuff and the stuff that was kind of shady, So when I told her I just didn't want to be a company that did that, she said these simple words, and from there, it really just set up the culture of this company. And she said, so let's not do that. And it's literally those 5 words, is it? So let's not do that. Those 5 words that absolutely changed the game for me. And it helped me realize that my environment did not have to define me. So here I am, a pro makeup artist. I was educating other students. I know that there was a lot of bad stigma around network marketing because of the reasons that I told you. And then here I am about to throw my hat in the ring to do this myself. And that was like pretty scary. So with that being said, I decided I needed to figure out what I would need to be more worried about. Was I more worried about what other people were going to think about what I was doing, or could I control what actually happens in how I run my own business so that I could show them that whatever they're worried about, they don't have to worry about because I can operate differently. And that was really where I started to operate from a place of understanding that my environment does not define me. My environment of network marketing and whatever else was going out there from the trainings of the 80s, I like to call it, of network marketing, the used car salesman training of the 80s, didn't have to be the way I ran my business. In fact, I had a great quality product. It was a product I believed in with a company I believed in, and I was a makeup artist who worked with my clients. why would anything else affect the way that I run my business? So I decided to put my head down and really just start training and leading my teams and doing it exactly how we've always done it in the makeup industry, with professionalism, with recommendations for things we would actually recommend. If I don't like something, I wouldn't recommend it. If I love something, I would. I would also even keep my mind open to the fact that my customer skin was different and their needs were different. And so even if I didn't personally like everything, they might have loved it, which was the case a lot of the times. Because for me, I had combination and dry skin. There were some things I couldn't use from our oily line that I would have customers being like, I'm running out, I need this, or I'm like gonna totally go crazy without it. And I'm like, really? You like that stuff? So I learned a lot about putting my own judgments to the side and just being of service to my customers, just being of service to my clients. And they really, truly kept coming back for more of this product. So I knew I didn't have to worry about the quality of the product. I mentioned in the past, I had private label makeup, and it was good enough, but it wasn't great for camera. I had to switch it up depending on what photo shoot or what lighting situation I was in. And this was the first time that I could actually, with integrity, stand behind a line that I was retailing as well as use it on set. You know, like this is our little home set here, but we have a full studio too. And my husband's a photographer. So he had to like it. He had to like it on camera. The first time I ever used LimeLife foundation on camera, he was like, this is working in every lighting situation. Up until then, I had to change. He knew the names of my foundations and what textures they were. He had to request certain foundations for different lighting setups because of the way that it shined or the way that it bounced off the camera. Or if it was going to be moodier lighting, I couldn't have that super dewy look, you know? So it wasn't until we used LimeLife that he was able to use it with every single lighting setup. He's never asked me to change the foundation in 5.5 years. And that was super huge for me. So his buy-in as a professional photographer was really big for me in knowing that I was going to go full speed ahead with this line. And I put a lot on the line for it because although I know that I could still be a makeup show educator while doing this, it just didn't feel right to be educating, you know, in makeup and then telling all my students to 98% of the stuff that I use is LimeLife, because I didn't want it to come across as like, I'm just selling you guys on LimeLife. So, you know, like I never wanted to use my platform for that. So it made sense for me to just concentrate more on LimeLife and kind of step down from doing the education with the makeup show. And also, you know, it was a very new thing. The makeup show has always been very supportive of this, but not a lot of artists understood what I was doing. They're like, Kat, you work with celebrities. You are the senior artist over here at this news network. Like you have jobs and you are lined up to do everything you want to do in the trajectory and path that every artist out there seemed to be vying for. And I was doing it, and I was working with my New York agency, and I was doing all this stuff, and it just didn't feel like success. I think that's the main thing. And that's the thing I concentrate most on, is it didn't really feel like success. So what I found over the years in being here is, like, obviously the given is I love the product. The given is that it works great for my pro makeup. But I realized something about myself was that I was kind of chasing this level of success that didn't really speak to who I was or what my family needed from me at the time. And having already put myself through the position of being super tired, super sick at work, not getting enough sleep, you know, not being able to be my best for my family and for myself, I realized some changes needed to be made. And so when I started doing better and better at LimeLife, and it finally, after about 1.5 years of working LimeLife on top of my senior position, I finally put my notice in because I was able to supplement my income, my executive income, with my business. And I think that was the biggest part, where I was like, I can't even believe that this thing where I was just going to retail to my customers made it to a point where I could actually say yes or no, even to the jobs that I didn't want. You know, like I like to say that the makeup industry and the jobs that I took didn't become a thing where I was feeding, you know, my family. I could start to take the jobs that were feeding my soul. And what I found was that a lot of things that I was doing with LimeLife and working with other people to help realize their dreams, to be able to not have to say yes to every job, to not have to suffer through the slow season, that fed my soul so much more than just taking every job. Like, so no longer was I going through feast or famine. And as I started to share a little bit more about this, and as, you know, more and more customers started to really truly fall in love with it, a lot of times they would be like, you know, is this something that I could do? Is this something that I could recommend to people? And I would be like, absolutely. So then I found my artistry skills and my knowledge started to get more simplified. Like I have my knowledge and I have my knowledge that I speak to makeup artists about because we're at a little different level with our lingo, with our understandings, color theory and all this other stuff. But when I have somebody who doesn't really understand makeup coming to me and saying like, how can I best recommend this to my customer without me specifically working with every single customer they have, it put me in a place to not only be an educator, but to be an educator that helps simplify the process of helping somebody feel confident in their own makeup skills so that way they can show other people how they do their makeup. So the way that I operate is I don't do makeup on everybody in my business. Like you would think that, okay, I'm going to have a makeup workshop that I'm going to go around and do everybody's makeup so they can see, like almost like a freelancer at a department store counter, right? You do everybody's makeup and then try to sell them something. I don't do that. I actually just sit at literally a kitchen table sometimes or dining room table with maybe 5 or 6 or up to 8 people around me. And we all have brushes and we all have the same mirror and we've got our palettes in the middle. And I show them, here's how I do one swipe of eyeshadow with this brush. This is why I use this brush. You see this flat base that's going to cover more area. And a lot of the stuff that I give them are just basic tips that a lot of people have never really learned. And so I realized that there are so many makeup artists out here that has such great potential to make extra supplementary income in their slow season, but they're just struggling through their slow season, trying to line, and all they think that they can do is to line up their next busy season or to like work on contracts for later on down the road. In the meantime, there are people all around them that just wouldn't be able to afford them for a consultation ever, would probably not even care about ever doing a consultation because they never gave that much thought to their makeup. But in somebody's slow season, you can invite your friends, your family, all those people that ask you questions on makeup that you never really have time to answer. You can take the time to give back and give them those basic answers and show them like what kind of makeup works with what you're talking about. Like, look at this pigment. You just do one swipe of this across your lid and you have a great look. I mean, a lot of the tips that I give to people are so simple, but really help save them time, really help build their confidence in knowing what they're doing. And I'm just doing it on myself and they're just following along. So I just call this working smarter, not harder. You already have a lot of the stuff in your kit. I remember being at IMATS with a makeup artist friend, and she was going around to all the different booths and getting this product over here at the Scandinavia booth and getting this product over here at the London Brush Company booth and getting this product over at the Alcone booth. And I was like, you do know that that's LimeLife by Alcone vendors, right? Like that's who we sell, but you're just buying them straight from the vendor instead of just signing up as a LimeLife beauty guide. You're already using the product. Now, if somebody wants it, you can just refer it to them. You literally just give them a link or you tell them I'll order for you. It'll be at your door within the week. I just feel like we're in a new age of allowing ourselves to think about supplemental ways that we can use our already given and known skills and talents to make extra income. And we should stop playing small and stop thinking that there's only one way to succeed and there's only one way that we're supposed to do things. Think about why you got into makeup in the first place. If you're like me, and maybe you're not, but if you're like me, it was for service. It was to be of service to somebody else by using my creative outlet, by using my creative craft. Given a lot of people are more creative than I am. I'm a technical artist. So I just love that with LimeLife by Alcone, I actually have everything I need to be able to create so many different looks. And in fact, every time I come up with a look, I post it and I teach other people how to do it. It's just been such a great thing. So that's why I chose to be with LimeLife, right? But let me choose a little bit of why I choose. Let me talk a little bit about why I choose to stay with LimeLife. Over the years, I've gotten to know about, the rest of the industry. I only knew about LimeLife. It was my first real direct sales that I really went into. We knew we were doing things differently and we had vision and like a tunnel vision. Like we had focus on what we were doing. We didn't care what this person over here was doing. We didn't care what this person over here is doing. And over the years, I find that because we've had our head down in that way, a lot of people instead decided to kind of come up to us and say, hey, why don't we show you what you're doing? Or, hey, this is why LimeLife's doing it wrong. Never really realizing that our way of doing things was never to be comparable. It was always to do it in the way that made sense for us as professional makeup artists who have then brought it to like the whole rest of the world, right? We were never trying to play in a game of direct sales. And so I think that's number one thing that I love about us is that was never us in the first place, right? But in the end, a lot of people will want to compare and say like why we're different, and for me, that's a good thing. But, for other people, they want to compare it to other network marketing companies. And so when we go into the thought of comparison, there are a lot of things that are different about us. And I'm going to be absolutely honest. We're not in this for the fame and the glory and a lot of things that a lot of people get into network marketing for. It's not to say that we don't give people their props. It's not to say that we don't give, we're not super proud of our teams, but I think a lot of different companies like really do this for the recognition. They really do this for the, to walk across the stage and all that other stuff. And like I said, we do all of that. But our foundational core values has nothing to do with power. It has nothing to do with, it has more to do with honor. It has more to do with integrity. It has more to do with family. It has more to do with transparency. It has more to do with giving you a quality product that you can retail. It has more to do with growth, with leadership skills, with personal development. As a makeup artist, I was not getting personal development. I didn't even know personal development was a thing I needed to worry about in the makeup industry. I just knew I needed to do good and I needed to do better than the other person next to me. And that was kind of part of the problem, was I was like out there to be the best, which never allowed me to be in a space to want to help other people until I got here. This is the first community where I was able to work with makeup artists and not be threatened by their skills, or not be threatened by the fact that they work around me as well, not be threatened that they're up for the same jobs. I can actually cheer people on because they're my community here. Like if one of us wins, we all win. We're all working towards the same goal of getting people to really and truly understand what LimeLife by Alcone is. So I see a lot of times where people want to try to diminish what we have here, and they try to put a spin on things, and I mean straight up, sometimes I'll be honest, straight up lie about a lot of things just to make it look like we're not as head down and focused as we are. But the truth of the matter is I choose to stay here because we don't get into all of that, because we don't bother making that our platform. It really is about building entrepreneurs here. I care less about being a leader who collects followers. I would much rather, and I know I would be successful if I build entrepreneurs who can do this with or without me in the company. And I think that's the biggest thing that a lot of people don't understand. A lot of people don't understand that we do this for other people. We're not doing this for ourselves. And so the attacks come frequently because people want to fit us in this box of direct sales and network marketing. And it's just not a box we're willing to go into. We're looking to make this into direct sales 2.0 in a totally different way. And it's why I choose to stay at LimeLife. They're innovative. They don't care about all that stuff. They know that, it's about the field. They're super transparent. I don't think I've ever worked at a company or heard other people have experiences of working with a company that were so transparent about everything to the point where you feel like you're a part of the company. There's a shipping delay. You know what's going on. You know what truck is where. You know what's happening. Like what options and decisions that they're facing. They allow your input. We have implemented so many amazing things, benefits, perks, ideas, policies even, that were suggested by beauty guides who may have only been here for a year or less. Not even that, not even the top executive people, right? But we still have weekly meetings with the top executive people. Like we have just so much willingness from corporate to allow us to shape how this works for us. And it's one of the reasons why I truly understand they're invested in not only our growth, but in our growth into leaders, not necessarily followers, nor are we worker bees. One of the things that I talk about a lot in my own trainings with this company and that we bring to fruition through the company trainings is that we are our own brand. And as our own brand, we should absolutely be building who we are, not who LimeLife is. And the stronger we are and dynamic we are as a personal brand, the more it means to be aligned with a company like LimeLife. And I think a lot of times, a lot of other companies tend to make people their people. Like they're proud to be their beauty guide, their consultant, their rep for that company. And that starts to define who they are. And we never want our beauty guides to be defined as just a worker bee of our company. We want them to be dynamic, strong, and a badass leader in their own right, regardless of, who they're following, who their team is. And then allow us to empower everybody else to be that way too. So that way, when we choose to align with LimeLife, it means so much more than LimeLife having like 25,000 employees. Hope that makes sense. So anyways, that is a lot of why I stay here. I've been blessed to be able to have so many opportunities to use my voice. I've helped them develop their brush sets. Through my experience with where I was working, where I needed to give 15-minute makeovers to people who had no makeup to go on TV for the world to see. I knew certain brushes would work the best, the shapes of them. And so they developed that with me. I was able to bring friends and other amazing pro artists like Lottie in, to do our first celebrity collaboration. I've been able to be so vocal and use my experience in this industry to really help shape this company, but not only me, so many other people, even people who think that they don't have a voice or wouldn't have any impact, have been able to impact this company and the field in the most positive and amazing way, just because they care so much about it and they wanted to grow. And when it wasn't for them at all, but they wanted the company to really succeed, the company recognizes that and listens for it. So it's so funny. I was about to wrap this up and I hadn't even talked about the financial part of it. I'm not going to go there with a long thing on it, but I will say, that's not at all. And you can tell from this video, that's not at all why I got into this. I was only hoping, I remember writing my CEO a dream career. She said, write your dream career for me the first days of doing this. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is so hard to do. I got to be vulnerable and tell somebody what I want from a job. Like, that's really weird when you're telling your new CEO of this company exactly what you want. And you know what I said in that? And this is one of the main reasons why I stick here. Because what I said in that video, or what I said in that email was, I want to be comfortable enough to be able to pay our bills and not be living paycheck to paycheck. Did I remind you that was my dream career, was to be comfortable enough? That is such an eye-opener, and I think a lot of people operate this way. But a lot of people operate in a way that our biggest dreams are still so small. And I think, if anything, I've understood here that I was always just living into my default future. I was always living into the future where I was just a little out of my comfort zone, and that was good enough because it was better than what I was doing. So when somebody asked me my dream career and I want to be comfortable enough, it's actually kind of sad to hear that, because your dream career should be like way above and beyond your expectations. And when I finally realized how small I was dreaming was when I was able to go above and beyond my expectations. When I was making enough to be able to leave my executive job, corporate job, and step into LimeLife, that was one thing. But then I started making double what I was making a month. And then I started making triple what I was making a month as that executive role. And then I started making what I was making yearly on a monthly basis. And that is where I just laugh when I hear somebody say, what's your 5-year plan? Because that all happened within 4 years. And I can't even imagine what would happen in 5 years. I just know the sky's the limit, and I'm never going to think so small again. And if I got anything out of LimeLife other than all the other things, the friendship, the lessons, the life lessons, everything, was that I just need to believe in myself more. And I hope this serves as a lesson to everybody here, is that for everybody who's seen me come from a person who was scared to death to talk in front of people. I almost said no to being an educator with the makeup show because they knew I had severe panic attacks that got triggered by speaking in front of people, to me being able to stand on stage in front of 2,500 people to like cheer them on and celebrate them and talk about our New Brighter Together Foundation and what we're doing for women globally, and to just even be involved in any business that's so outside of my comfort zone, where I'm making so much more than I allowed myself in my wildest dreams to make. Like, if that could be the biggest takeaway of why I'm sticking with this company, that's exactly what I want to leave there. Because this company has allowed me to understand that I don't have to play it small. There's such a big game out there. I can impact people in so many ways. And while skincare and makeup is not my purpose, it is absolutely my vehicle and vessel to getting towards my purpose. And I want more and more people to understand that. And it's why I choose to stay at LimeLife. Along with why I joined LimeLife. Why I joined LimeLife was for one reason, but it has evolved into such a bigger reason. And it's why I talk all the time about why, you know, I want people to give this a chance. I want people to give this an opportunity. Hit me up. If this speaks to you in any way, hit me up. I will talk to you all later. I hope you have an amazing, amazing day. Bye.